Hey everybody, AC here, and welcome to another Terrible Theory. This is a theory I have been concocting for many years. Many years I have been coming up with this theory, and I am so happy that today is the day when we finally get to talk about it. I've wanted to talk about this theory I've had since I made my channel, honestly. Like ever since I first made my channel, all the way back in 2014, I've had this idea for a theory that I want to talk about, and it is the Sonic timeline. So, Sega has never really given us an official timeline for Sonic and for the Sonic games, so I figure I'm just gonna do it myself. So, yeah. And we are going to be splitting this up into 7 parts. I'm going to split this up into 7 parts, because, well, there's way too many games to cover in a single video. This video would be like over an hour long, and I cannot be doing that. I've already recorded a few other videos today. I have other stuff to do today, so yeah, there's gonna be this is gonna be 7 episodes long, but let's just go ahead and dive into this. One thing to note before we start, though, I am not going to be talking about the actual backstory and lore of the Sonic franchise. Somebody else can do that. Like, there are many other people who have already done that, who have talked about, the ancients, and where it fits in with, the Gaia temples, and all that stuff. And the ancient Echidna tribe. And, all that stuff has already been talked about by other people. So I don't need to talk about that. I'm just going to talk about the order that I believe the games happen in. And the games that we know for certain are canon. The games that we know for certain are all the games that we know for certain are canon, whether it be from Sega straight up saying that they're canon, or the characters in the games referencing the events, or in some rare cases, I may end up putting a game into a place in the timeline, just because it's the only way to make the timeline make sense. And we'll get to one of those examples very soon. But yeah, so I just want to let you guys know that's how we're handling this. So, we start off with the OG, Sonic the Hedgehog 1. It's Sonic's first encounter with Dr. Robotnik. And he stops Dr. Robotnik's evil plan. Now we run into our first hurdle. Because Sonic CD is confirmed to take place in between the events of Sonic the Hedgehog and Sonic 2. However, in the manual, it is stated that Dr. Eggman, having been thwarted twice by his arch enemy, decides to create Metal Sonic. So, we need a game that goes in between Sonic the Hedgehog and Sonic CD. It can't be Sonic 2, since Sonic CD predates Sonic 2. So, what could we possibly put in there? He has to have beaten Dr. Robotnik's schemes twice. So, what could we possibly put in there? Enter Sega Sonic the Hedgehog, an arcade game where you play as Sonic, as well as 2 other characters, Mighty the Armadillo and Ray the Flying Squirrel. This is Ray's only appearance in the games. It is his only appearance in the games until Mania Plus, which means this game has to be canon because Sonic knows Ray in Mania Plus. He knows who Ray is, and Mania Plus is canon. So this game also has to be canon and fit somewhere in the timeline. So it would make sense to have it be the second ever adventure he went on. And in Sega Sonic the Hedgehog, for those of you who don't know, it is an arcade game where Dr. Robotnik, after having been defeated by Sonic, decides to capture Sonic and put him onto his island of trap island. Just an island filled to the brim with traps designed to ensnare and kill people who he perceives to have wronged him. And that's where Sonic meets Ray and Mighty, and the three of them work together in order to escape. Trap Island and destroy Trap Island in its entirety, so Eggman can never again use it to harm another creature. So after having been foiled twice, Eggman decides to create Metal Sonic, leading into the events of Sonic CD. After Sonic CD, we get the events of Sonic 2 and the introduction to Tails. After Sonic 2, we get Sonic 3 and Knuckles. The introduction to Knuckles, and Hypersonic, in his only appearance. Oh yeah, Sonic 2 obviously introduced Supersonic, and one other thing, in Sonic the Hedgehog 2, we also get introduced to Silver Sonic, which is a prototype to Metal Sonic. And then in Sonic 3 and Knuckles, we get introduced to Mecha Sonic, which is the second prototype to Metal Sonic. It took Eggman 3 tries to actually get Metal Sonic correct. After learning about the importance of friendship and teamwork, Knuckles goes on his own adventure in Knuckles Chaotix, where Mecha Sonic is back and causing problems. After that, well, I guess I should say during that whole game, while Knuckles is working with the Chaotix and fighting alongside Vector, Espio, and Mighty in Mighty's final appearance before Mania Plus, Sonic is having his own solo adventure. He said goodbye to Tails for a bit, and he's now having his own adventure with Sonic 3D Blast. And we know he has to have his own solo adventure. We know he has to have a few of his own solo adventures because when him and Tails meet back up again in Sonic Adventure DX, they keep saying long time. They say long time no see. It's been a while since they've actually gotten together for an adventure. So we know he has to have a solo adventure. After that, it's Sonic the Fighters. And, I forgot Mighty was actually in that game, too. So this is his third and final appearance, before, Sonic Mania Plus. But it also has the only appearances of Bark the Polar Bear, and Dynamite the Bird. It has their only appearances prior to Sonic Mania Plus. Sonic Mania Plus brings references to those two characters, so we know that has to occur. That has to occur. We know for a fact that this game has to occur in order for them to be referenced and for Sonic to remember them in Sonic Mania Plus. Same thing with Snipe the Weasel. He's also in Sonic the Fighters, and he also appears in Sonic Mania Plus. But he also appears again in Sonic Superstars, as one of the main antagonists later on. But that marks the end of the first era of Sonic games, the classic era. It is not the last time we will see classic Sonic, but this is the last time before the timeline starts to get all wonky. So there we go. It's those 8 Sonic games right there. So, there we go. That's the end of that is the end of this current era and the end of part 1 to our theory. So, join me for part 2 when we start talking about the effects that Sonic Generations had on the timeline. Thank you all so much for watching. Hope you all enjoyed. Like, comment, subscribe, hit that notification bell, all that good jazz, and I will see you all in the next video. Take care, everyone.